Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cut Shield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cut Shield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cut Shield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code Grove City Hockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today.
Now carried it in back into goal.
That was a beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save! Woo! Talk about a move.
Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, trying to watch my sixth year in college.
Welcome to GCH Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me are two very special guests. I've got Zach Smith and Joe Messina. How you guys doing today?
Doing well. Great.
Cool. So these two gentlemen are part of, you guys own Second String Leather Company, and this is something that we kind of ran into you guys at the Let's Play Hockey Expo in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Or, yeah, it's in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
At the XL Energy Center. So, and we were both pleasantly surprised that we were both from Michigan.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves? Joe, let's start with you. Tell us how you got into hockey, what what it is about hockey that you love so much.
Oh, goodness. I started playing hockey when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Started off as a defenseman. I think I played one practice as a defenseman, and then I got thrown in goal because the goalie that was supposed to be our goalie for the, I guess, practice or that week didn't want to play goalie. So my coach gave me the gear, and I sort of fell in love with the position. I've been playing goalie ever since. I don't play anymore, unfortunately. I don't play any organized hockey anymore, but I do more coaching now. But I fell in love with the game, and it hasn't left me at all. I mean, it's part of my daily activity from like literally the time I wake up to the time I go to bed is hockey 24/7.
That's awesome. Who's your favorite goaltender?
Oh man, right now I'm a smaller guy. I have to go with Saros. I mean, he's just like to watch him play, watch him move. I mean, he's flawless when he plays. I mean, and we actually got a chance to watch him live last year in Nashville versus Vancouver. And I mean, he is just a remarkable goalie for being, probably 5'9", 5'10", on this. Right. He was really fun to watch. So I'm a big Saros fan.
Yeah, and then I bet your like all-time favorite would be probably Arthur Zerbe. You like small tendies. He's pretty small. I think he's like 5'5", right?
I got hooked on my first ever NHL hockey game I ever went to. Was Toronto versus the Rangers in Toronto. It was John Van Beesbrook versus Ken Reckett. And
that's awesome.
And I was like, John Van Beesbrook. My dad's like, yeah, he's from Detroit, Michigan. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I was always a Beezer fan. He was a small goalie. Yeah. So Beezer was my like idol growing up. I wore 34 for a long time, and then obviously Potvin came in and before, and who couldn't fall in love with those goalies during the 90s?
Yeah, no, and then so my first hockey game was in Chicago with Chicago and Dallas, and that was the first game back for Balfour.
Oh, really?
So that was interesting. We were 13 rows off the ice on the corner. And then that was where the start of the infamous Balfour chant, at least that I remember, started when I was there. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Zach, tell us a little bit about you, bud.
Yeah, so born and raised Grand Rapids, Michigan. Pretty much been skating since I was 3. I think I started playing goalie full time when I was like 8. I mean, obviously, you play all the positions and growing up in like mites and stuff like that. So, and I've always asked to play goalie, and obviously, everybody else had to give their chance at it. So, I love doing it. So that's just what I wanted to do. So, obviously, it's not a cheap sport or a cheap position to play. So I didn't really get a whole lot of goalie instruction. So I had to kind of do it myself, figure it out. So, but yeah, I don't play anymore either. Just my goalie coach with him as well. But I love goalie coaching because I didn't have a goalie coach growing up. So that's why I love doing it. So.
Yeah. Now, who's your favorite goaltender?
Oh, Mike Vernon.
Okay.
Short goalie.
No, I'm a little disappointed you guys didn't pick my favorite, Patty Waugh.
Oh man, I'm not a big fan.
He's good, but not a huge fan.
He's got a picture with Mike Vernon. How old were you?
Dude, I don't know. I've got like multiple photos. I was probably
9, 10?
9, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, he's got a big in his office. He's got a big picture of him and Mike Vernon.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about. So tell us a little bit about Second String Leather Company and how you guys came about and how you guys actually got together. Or first off, let's start with how did you guys two meet, or how did you two guys meet?
Well, he was trying to sell me.
So I own a company. So I own Mass Marvel goalie helmets, and we've been around since 2005, 2004. So this was probably 12 years ago. You were in high school, maybe at the time.
Yeah, I think I was a sophomore or junior.
So yeah, Zach used to work at the local rink here in Grand Rapids at Walker Ice Arena, and we had a Bandits goalie camp at Walker, and he happened to be working there, and I found out that he was a goalie, so I was trying to hey, you should try one of our goalie masks. That's sort of how we, just sort of connected that way, and then a few years went down the line, and he ended up going to Davenport University, where I coach at Davenport. I've been there since 2005, still there to this day. And he was actually on our ACHA D2 team. So with me being the goalie coach and him being one of the goalies, we just sort of struck up friendship from there and sort of been friends ever since. So it's been a long time to sort of see how where we met just on a coincidence that the rink that one day has led to what we have today.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So now that's what actually brought us together. So we met out at the Let's Play Hockey Expo. So now tell us a little bit about what I think is probably some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen with this Second String leather company that you guys have. It's literally all repurposed hockey equipment that you guys turn into everyday household stuff, like a wall. You got wallets, pizza cutters, oven mitts. I mean, everything. So, how did that idea come together, and and then where it started, and then how you guys got to where you are right now?
I'm big into hockey. I absolutely love hockey, so I want to do hockey like the rest of my life. So I really wanted to dive into something hockey related, like start a business, do something. And, obviously being friends with this guy for quite some time now, we were just like, man, what could we do? What is the next big thing, thinking, turning the wheels and just never really.
It took a while.
Yeah.
We were spitballing for probably well over a year, just throwing ideas around. Some stuck, some didn't. It was
so it is what it is. But anyway, so we all of a sudden were just like, you know what? What if we saw something on Instagram, somebody made a wallet out of some repurposed leather from some other sport or whatever, or maybe it was a Louis Vuitton handbag. Or something like that, and then he made it into a wallet. We're like, holy cow, we did that with goalie gear. Yes, that's what it was.
I think I really remember. I know where we were at when
Yeah.
we were at the art fair, like,
festival.
with all of our, like, with our wives and stuff. And
Yeah.
we were again, that was like that time we're just like throwing crazy ideas around. I mean, I always chuckle because I think the first one we ever came up with was cufflinks out of hockey pucks.
Okay. Oh, that's
Which
pretty
I think
interesting.
somebody makes that.
I'm sure they do, but I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, and then it was crazy because, like, literally we're throwing these ideas around, and then one night he calls me at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my, is something wrong? Like, he called me at 2:30 or something crazy. He's like, I got it. I think we're gonna take the hockey equipment leather and we're gonna make wallets and keychains, and that's sort of where it all started. And that was, we've been around since 2019, so I think that was like 2017, 2018.
Okay.
But since that phone call, he never, like, we just, even though we talked about it that day, it took us like a full year to like get it off the ground and
actually do something about it.
Yeah, so I think there was a time where it was like, dude, we're gonna do it. Like, quit, going back and forth. Maybe we should do it. Maybe we shouldn't. So we each put in $5,000. To be honest with you, we put in $5,000 each, and that's how we started.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible because the products you guys make are phenomenal. Like the hand quality, the stitching, the repurposing, the refinishing, everything that I've saw, that you had on display, I was blown away. Like, I was like, wow. And then to find out you guys are local to me was even more impressive because I'm like, this is really cool. And then I'm like, I got to get you guys on.
I think the coolest part about the whole thing is that, I never would have thought, nor probably Zach, like, in everything that we do, that this would just take off the way it has. Because, like I said, we invested, the money in the beginning, and we had our first launch on May 29th of 2019, and we literally made our money back and more in the first 24 hours. So that's when we first knew, like, holy smokes, like we're onto something here. I mean, we sold out of something. In like 2 weeks. We sold out of like all of our pieces that we made in collection number one. And I think collection number one, we maybe had like 200 pieces, maybe 300 pieces. Okay. And that's like wallets, watch bands, keychains. I don't even know if we had bathroom bags at that time.
I don't think so.
I think it was just pretty basic, and just to sort of see where it's gone from collection number one, and we just launched collection 14 last week, and now we're doing like over 1,000 pieces, 1,500 pieces. Like, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I always tell people, like, because people always ask, like, man, how did you come up with this idea? It's like, I think people have ideas all day long, but it's like, I think the coolest part is that we actually like moved forward and did it.
Yeah,
that to me is the coolest part of the whole thing, is that, when we look back on it, it's like we never, even though we like took time to like put the ideas together, we actually were like, we're doing this, and we'll do whatever it takes to make it work. And we've been lucky enough to have some incredible people on staff that not only do our website, our IT, our team of leather craftsmen that build out our pieces. We have blacksmiths that do stuff with our unique stuff for the kitchen ware that we have. It's just, and Zach's, like, we're just creative. Like, we're always coming up with like new crazy things to add. I mean, we just added dress socks into our accessories. So it's like
that's awesome.
Just keep on adding stuff. And I never would have thought that we would not only start the leather company, but then have 30 extra things that we sell above and beyond the wallets.
Yeah, it's really cool because like you said, you got pizza cutters, you got ice cream scoops, you got corkscrews. I mean, just about any kind of utensil that you may or may not even think you need, you definitely need. Like, you got a grill set too. I'm like, this stuff is really cool.
It just keeps growing. It really does.
Yeah. So now, how long does the process take from start to finish? On I obviously certain pieces are going to take longer than others, but from starting a collection to the end of the collection, give us a ballpark as to how long that process takes.
So because Zach, so the cool part about all this is like everything is meticulously like one of one, and Zach does a phenomenal job. Like he takes all of our photos.
Mhm.
So there is definitely a long process of building out things. So we're getting ready, to be honest with you, we're getting ready to start our summer collection. So, and we've been building out this collection for probably 4 months.
Okay.
So even though we just launched our spring collection, in the background, we've been building out our summer collection at the same time. So our summer collection will go in, it'll probably start being made at the end of the month, so end of May. And
Okay.
we won't launch it till probably sometime at the end of August.
Okay.
So it's definitely a pretty tedious process of like, finding the pieces, finding the right pieces, and then having them deconstructed, built out, photographed with Zach. Then we give it to our IT guy. He loads it up into our website, and then we have our launch. It's definitely a unique process, but I think we fine tuned it over the years where now it's like it's a heck of a lot quicker than it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. So now, how do you guys go about finding your recycled leather or recycled equipment that you guys are going to refurbish?
Oh, we search high and low everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. Like, I mean, all over the internet. We get emails from people all the time, like, "Hey, I've got this gear." I mean, that's great. People are wanting to send us gear and everything, but we're very particular in what we bring in. With the colors, the branding, and the name behind it. So we've kind of geared our agenda to like more pro, because obviously everybody loves the pros. That's who they idolize their game after, and who they like to follow. And I mean, heck, why not have a wallet from your favorite goalie, Marc-Andre Fleury or whatever? There's obviously a story to every piece, and that's our goal behind that, is to have that story to tell with every piece that we make.
That is awesome.
A lot of
that's
people, we get asked that a lot, like, how do you guys go about finding the pieces? And honestly, I think that's the coolest thing that him and I do on a daily basis is like we're sending messages, emails, like back and forth with each other, because we're just always hunting for the gear.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, honestly, like we're two hockey nerds. So like for like, it's like the equipment is what draws you in. So like we're sort of addicted to the equipment. So we're always looking at gear all the time, and it's pretty cool that we've started to form like relationships with a lot of NHL teams, with equipment managers, and just people in the equipment industry that buy and sell equipment. So we do have sources outside of him and I, like looking on a daily basis, that we do get people that send us emails, like Zach said. So it makes our life a little bit easier, but we're becoming very picky on what we bring into our collections every launch. So
Right.
the uniqueness, and like Zach said, the specialty colors and the names, and obviously the pro teams now is something that we're really gearing toward as we move forward.
So which piece of equipment is the easiest to work with?
I don't know if there's one that's more easier to work with. I mean, obviously with goalie pads, you get a lot more product out of that. That's where you're going to get your bathroom bags and stuff from, with the straps on the pads and all that. But as far as what gear to work with,
Once it's all deconstructed, and it's like, 'cause we iron everything out, so it's like flat, everything's ironed out.
Yeah.
Material is material, but the goalie pad probably yields the most. But it's sort of changed now that as we got into more of like the current goalie pads have a lot less material than the pads from the 90s and 80s.
Right.
There's not even any really straps on the pads anymore. They're all elastic, where before, there was all the leather straps. They're irrelevant on goalie pads now. So
Right.
That's your Fleury.
Fleury does still have straps. And that's the cool thing too, to see like some of the equipment that we get in, like a lot of the pro stuff, like the modifications that they make. It's pretty cool to see like there's certain things that they've tweaked around, or there's like signatures and different verbiage that they may put on their glove for like motivation or just inspirational stuff. So it's pretty cool to see that stuff, because not everyone gets to see like when you rip a pad apart. I think it was we've ripped pads apart in the past where
I think it was a Heat pad or a Brian's pad.
It had like a signature in there from like the 80s. It was like and we just found out it was like, when they would go down the production line, people would sign off on the different pieces once they got complete. So,
Okay.
so maybe Ben would put his initials on there. Okay, this like steps 1, 2, and 3 are completed. Ben signs off on it. Boom, he pushes it down the line. It's like pretty cool because we've had a couple people email us like that's actually my mother's signature when she worked at Vaughn in the 90s and 80s. That's her.
Wow, that's
It's just
that's
really cool.
awesome.
It's really cool to see stuff like that. But I think there was like we just got some player gloves from I think the 60s or 50s, and there was a player's or a gentleman's name that's like sort of written on the leather, and that was like his signature, his name and phone number. If lost, return back to whomever, and it was actually like in the leather. So that's pretty cool that you get to see. Those are like little. Again, they're all conversation pieces with these things that we're making.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, what's the most popular piece that you guys sell?
Probably a vertical, 6-slot vertical.
Yeah, either the 6-slot vertical or the 6-slot bifold.
Yeah, those are
I
two.
mean, obviously, those are going to hold your most cards and
Right.
cash.
So that's so you're talking the wallets then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then what piece is the most proud of that you guys came up with, and that you guys like once you made it, you're like, I don't really want to sell this. I got to keep this for myself.
All of them, they're all pretty badass.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about it, man. I mean, we were lucky. About a year or two ago, we got some pieces we got a pair of Grant Fears pads from the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh yeah.
So it was pretty cool. So we got to send him some pieces in a bathroom bag and some wallets, and it was pretty cool. Like you're talking with Grant Fear. I mean, that's not every day you get to talk to a Hall of Famer, and he's followed us on Instagram for a while now on social media. But I mean, there's been some pretty sweet pieces. I mean, to do some stuff for like Ray Emery, like because we've actually been able to do several Ray Emery pieces that we've actually sent to his goalie coach and his parents. And obviously, he's deceased, but to be able to offer that to those are legendary pieces that are just. Yeah, to any fan, like you have a piece of your hockey hero is remarkable. So we've gotten really connected to the custom pieces that we make, just because the custom pieces are also like really significant, that have a lot of meaning behind them, whether it's from a deceased family member or your grandpa or your dad, or just maybe a pair of a glove or blocker that you used to use back when you were younger, and now you're older and married and you want to give a wallet to your son. There's a lot of sentimental value to these pieces that we make in our custom program. So those are really special pieces when we make those too.
Oh man, that's amazing. Yeah, I actually had a pair of leather goalie pads back in the day. I want to say they came from the late 80s, early 90s, or heck, they might even been in the mid 80s. And then I remember playing with them. They were the old brown ones that you saw, and they were in a storage unit. And then I had moved away, and my cousin, who's a really big corporate attorney from Chicago at the time, now he's in New York. His mom was moving, and that's where I had my pads. And he was just like, "Nope, get rid of them." I was like, "No." So
it's amazing to say that, because we actually hear a lot of stories where people just throw their stuff out. I mean, people throw it in the trash, and it's like, man, wow, we could take that and make something special out of it. But yeah, we hear that story a lot. Like, oh my gosh, my parents moved and they threw my pads out from when I was a kid. And you look back like, man, I wish I had those.
Yeah, but that happened 15 years before you guys started your business. So who's winning the cup?
Like I said before, I think I'm going to put my money on Florida. They can keep doing this miraculous run. I think it'd be a pretty cool story to sort of see them hoist the cup.
Okay. Zach, what about you, bud?
Man.
I don't know. You're probably a Boston guy.
No way.
No? Okay.
It's like, what? No way.
No. I'm going to say, I don't know why, but I'm going to say Carolina.
Really?
Yeah.
So you guys going eastern side here.
I don't think they have the depth in that. I hate to say it.
No, that's not great, but I mean, they've been killing it. Obviously, they just lost.
Just got hammered the other night.
But
I think Seattle's got a chance. I would like to see them in the finals.
It's fun to watch, and that's pretty cool to watch these teams that, like, even watching Edmonton and Vegas. Those are West Coast teams. Those are on late at during the year, it's like you never get to watch those teams. So it's pretty cool to watch them during the playoffs. But yeah, like Seattle, they're awesome. Like fast, gritty. Just they play an awesome style of hockey. To go from where they were last year to where they are now in just a year.
It's incredible to see, and they gave the boys from Colorado a run for their money. And I think if Colorado would have had less injuries, it probably would have been a different story. But
and it's even crazy because Landeskog has been hurt the whole year, and he's been out
the whole year. He didn't even get a chance to play. So, but that's going to be tough to see what they do with the with all the contracts that they got coming up and the salary cap issues that they're going to have to deal with here this off season. So,
I'm a big Red Wings fan, so I believe in the Yzer plan, as they like to.
That's going to be tough because then you got the draft. They just found out who's going to get Connor Bedard. That was going to go to Chicago. So
that was one of the cool things. We were actually in Chicago about a month ago, maybe.
Yeah,
and we were able to go to a private event for the Blackhawks, and we actually did some pieces for the current CEO of the Blackhawks. So he did our custom program over the winter. And
cool.
It was pretty cool to sort of like just that facility. So we went to the game on Sunday, had awesome seats in the United Center. But then on Saturday, we were at the private event, but it was in their practice facility. So it was like the Fifth Third Arena. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just first class. I mean, I'm sure all the NHL arenas are first class, or even their practice facilities. But to see it firsthand and like how meticulous everything is, it was just awesome to go behind the closed doors, go behind the curtain and sort of see like how everything is actually ran. It was impeccable. And it was actually a Legends camp. So it was you spend X amount of dollars and you actually are basically become a Blackhawk for the weekend. So they dress you up top to bottom in Blackhawks gear. You get to wear, the jerseys, and you play a couple games. You have some alumni that are on your team. It was just a really, really cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. So what's next for Second String?
Oh, man. It's a great question. We have some things that we're working on right now that we're hoping to come out with probably later in the summer. Or even, we have a couple things that we're working on, so it just depends on when we're going to drop them into our lineup of stuff. So the socks was a cool thing that we just we launched 2 weeks ago, the dress socks.
Yep.
And so we're going to expand that. We sold probably like 100 pairs of dress socks, and who would have thought like dress socks?
I would have never guessed that. So
and everyone's like, well, you need your lucky pair of hockey socks. So
this is true.
So everyone,
we're a very superstitious crew.
100%. So we have a couple stores that we sold them to. A couple customers bought them during our launch. So it's pretty cool to sort of see like that take off, because that was something that wasn't really on our radar and got introduced to us, and we just sort of ran with it.
That's awesome.
The one thing that we really focus on too is golf. Like, we're big golfers, and we've been doing our golf club cover line for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And so we want to really like hone in on that, because the golf world is such a unique, sort of superstitious, guys are, crazy about their clubs and their club covers. And so that has been something that we've added as our club covers for golf. So we want to really expand more into the club cover line and even apparel as well for golf.
That's awesome. Well, I for one am excited to see more of your guys' stuff. I'm actually going to be looking forward to seeing you guys in person in the Grand Rapids area. Hopefully I can get that way over.
Yeah, absolutely. Come out this way, let us know, by all means.
Yeah. And, we'll see how this turns out, but I think this is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, we've been, like I said, so since 2019 we started this, and I don't know, so it's been a pretty cool ride to sort of see how it's grown. But I guess the other cool part is just to see like some of the other pieces that we've come up along the way. And like our leather craftsman team, they're just awesome. Like that's the best part about the whole thing, is that like things that we make are just sort of works of art, because everything is one of one and really unique and special. So like no two pieces are the same. So they're just truly pieces of art. And that's why I think people sort of, like they're proud to pull it out of their back pocket, because it is so unique, and it's not like your everyday wallet. It definitely is an eye-catching type piece of leather when you pull it out of your back pocket. Like, wait, what is that? Oh, it came from a pair of goalie pads that Grant Fuhr wore. And
Yeah,
so
that's it's amazing. I know Sean bought a wallet from you guys
Yes.
when we were out that way, and I'm pretty sure his dad is just super stoked
Yes.
every time he pulls that out.
Yes, I remember that.
You
Yes.
know, so it's pretty cool. Well, I think that we're just about out of time, guys. So we're gonna wrap this up. I'm Ben W. Stock. I have Joe Messina and Zach Smith from Second String Leather Company. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to interview with us, and hopefully our audience will appreciate what you guys do. And before you guys take off, where can we find your product?
Online at www.secondstringleather.com.